United Center in Chicago pulsed with electricity, the kind that only comes when the world's eyes are locked on a cage where legacies are born. August 17, 2025, UFC 319. The main event wasn't just a fight, it was a coronation. Khamzat Chimaev, the unrelenting force from Chechnya, stood across from Dricus Du Plessis, the South African warrior who defied the odds to claim the middleweight crown. One man was a champion, the other a prophecy. 5 rounds later, the MMA world would never be the same. The middleweight division had been a war zone of titans. Anderson Silva's untouchable reign, Israel Adesanya's razor-sharp precision, and now Du Plessis, a man who thrived in chaos, had carved his name into the lineage. He shocked the world by dethroning Sean Strickland in January 2024, defending his belt twice with a blend of awkward striking and unbreakable will. But Khamzat, he was a different animal. Undefeated at 14-0, his story was one of relentless momentum. 2 fights in 10 days on Fight Island, a 17-second knockout of Gerald Meerschaert, a war with Gilbert Barnes that proved his heart. Visa issues, a brutal battle with COVID, and whispers about his stamina had haunted him. But tonight, those doubts were about to be buried. The opening bell sounded, and Chimaev moved like a predator unleashed. 7 seconds in, he shot for a takedown, wrapping Du Plessis in a vice and slamming him to the canvas. The crowd roared, then fell silent, as Chimaev lacked in a crucifix, pinning the champion's arms. Short, sharp punches rained down, each one a message, "This is my night." Du Plessis, known for his scrambling grit, fought to escape, but Chimaev was a tidal wave. 4 minutes, 52 seconds of control time. The champion barely stood. The round ended and the tone was set, domination. As the fighters returned to their corners, the arena buzzed with a mix of awe and frustration. Fans had come for a slugfest, but Chimaev was delivering a masterclass in control. If you're watching this, you're part of the MMA Arena family. Hit that subscribe button to join us as we unpack every moment that shapes the sport. Round 2 began. It was a carbon copy of the first. Chimaev's takedown was surgical, his grip unyielding. Du Plessis tried to buck, to twist, to find any sliver of freedom, but Chimaev adjusted with eerie precision, sagging his weight, fishing for arms, jabbing the champion's face. The crowd's boos grew louder, but in the MMA world, respect was building. This wasn't just wrestling, it was art. Chimaev's journey to this moment was a saga of its own. Since Chimaev's 2020 debut, he'd been a wrecking ball, earning Dana White's praise as a special human being. His doubleheader on Fight Island, 2 stoppages in 10 days, set the tone. His knockout of Meerschaert was a statement. His war with Gilbert Burns, where he absorbed punishment but refused to break, silenced critics who questioned his chin. But the road wasn't smooth. These issues kept him out of the U.S. for stretches, and then a fatal Conan bout left him coughing blood. But here he was, at 31, rewriting the middleweight script against a champion who never lost in the USA. Round 3 was a nightmare for Du Plessis. Chimaev's takedown was a thunderbolt, lifting the champion and planting him against the fence. Blood dripped from a cut above Du Plessis' eye as Chimaev locked in another crucifix, elbows slicing through the air. The referee hovered, but Du Plessis refused to fold. He gave up his back, survived, but the score was brutal. 10-8 Chimaev. The judges' pens scratched in unison. The Chicago crowd's boos echoed what the MMA faithful knew, even witnessing history. Chimaev wasn't just winning, he was rewriting the record books. The middleweight division was a chessboard of rivalries and politics. After Adesanya's fall, Strickland's upset, and Du Plessis' rise, the landscape was primed for upheaval. Chimaev's past had been rocky. His health, his visa struggles, the whispers about his stamina, but his win over Kamaru Usman in 2023, and now this, it was undeniable. Division contenders Kaya Branham, Nasruddin Imam, Anthony Hernandez, they were watched from the shadows, knowing their time might come. Chimaev's stats were staggering: 12 takedowns, 21 minutes and 41 seconds of control time, 29 strikes landed. Max Holloway's 447 straight record against Calvin Gaynor shattered. The plus 484 strike differential, historic. Round 4 offered Du Plessis a flicker of hope. He stuffed a takedown, landed a stinging day, and the crowd surged at life. But Chimaev, unfazed, chained his wrestling, dragging the champion back to the mat. Referee Mark Goddard stood them up once, citing inactivity, a call that sparked debate. Chimaev's response was immediate. Another takedown, another crucifix. Du Plessis a foot to his feet twice, only to be pulled back into the abyss. The champion's heart was iron, but his body was crumbling under Chimaev's relentless pressure. This was no fight. It was a suffocation. The final round gave Du Plessis his moment. He swung wildly, landing a combination that made Chimaev pause. The champion hunted a guillotine and then swept Chimaev's back, and the crowd erupted, sensing a miracle. But Chimaev, calm under fire, reversed, smothered, and survived. The final heart sounded, and the scorecards were a formality. 50-44, 50-44, 50-44. Chimaev, the new UFC middleweight champion. The MMA world ignited with reactions. Conor McGregor, a man you know's dominant, spoke from experience. Chechenia's first UFC champion, he said, congratulations. His own legendary knockouts of Jose Aldo and Elie Vermeer were touchstones and title fight brilliance, and his words carried weight. Demetrius Johnson, the flyweight ghost, stood firm against the critics. The boos from the tribal crowd, if fans are calling him boring. If you can't appreciate a crowd play, go watch kickboxing or Muay Thai. This is MMA. This is the UFC. But not everyone was in all. Nate Diaz, the stuck to the legend, threw a barb from the sidelines. Chimaev can't fight, he said. A dig rooted in their scrapped UFC 279 clash when Chimaev missed weight. Bad blood simmered, but it was Sean Strickland who brought the fire. The former champion who lost to Du Plessis twice as an Easter round. He could out-wrestle Chimaev, take him down, dominate him for 5 rounds. His word prevent him, but Chimaev responded to the post-fight pressure with cold steel. Drake can send you down, he said with a smirk. How you gonna take me down? I beat him everywhere, striking, grappling. You talk too much. You're a funny guy. The feud between Chimaev and Strickland was a powder keg. They trained together in Las Vegas, and Strickland claimed he bested boars in the gym. Chimaev laughed it off. When I was there, you said my thing. When my easy got blocked, you started talking. I'm in LA now. Come find me. The tension was raw, personal, and outlaws gold around Chimaev's waist. It was a storyline that could headline any card. Strickland's path back to the title would have to go through the man he called out, a man that just redefined dominance. His dad's fit of a brutal picture. Chimaev's 529 strikes landed were a UFC record, worse than anything before. He had 21 minutes and 41 seconds to control 12 Du Plessis with just 5 minutes of freedom. They made a 25-minute fight. The champion, who'd spent only 5 minutes on his back in his entire UFC career, was overwhelmed. Chimaev's 12 takedowns, his relentless pressure, his crucifixes attempt, they brunched effective. They were historic. Dana White, blunt, every round could have been a 10-8, except maybe the last. Du Plessis stuck in that suffocating ground game, took a beating, but never quit. White respected that heart that refused to break, even in defeat. Fans were split. Social media erupted with praise and scorn. Some called Chimaev's performance a masterpiece, a grappling clinic that proved his supremacy. Others had given the Chicago crowd's boos crazy knockouts over control. One fan put it bluntly, Chimaev's a beast, but I came for a fight, not a wrestling match. Another fired back. If you don't get this, you don't get MMA. The debate Smith's bugged to scorecards were undeniable. Chimaev had made a champion look mortal. Du Plessis gracious in defeat, offered no excuses, big ups to Chimaev. He deserves this 100%. He beat me fair and square. I'll be back, and I come back for my belt. His words carried the weight of a warrior who fought until he's an end, landing us 45 strikes to Chimaev's 529, stemming here on the entire fight on his back, but never stopping his search for a way out. His coach had called Chimaev one dimension of mocking his stand-up, but in the cage, Chimaev's dimension was enough. His wrestling was to describe it, it was a force of nature. The co-main event brought fireworks to balance the main at the Thins Clinic. Lerone Mercy, the undefeated featherweight, faced Aaron Pico. Pico wrestling machine pushed the pace, boxing a groin against the fence. Where Murphy's line was weapons, traps waited for his moment. A swing back up, a weighted flash on Pico crumpled. The knockout was electric. A statement that vaulted Murphy past Mozart and view off in the featherweight title picture. Alexander Volkanovski, champ, took notice, calling out Murphy for December.
The UFC's matchmaking machine was already turning. The main card delivered Borkhouse, Cartless, Parlay, done. Jeff Manil with another spinning back elbow. And that guy that showcased his versatility. High kicks, the ankles, they left me all grasping at air. Jared Cannon there fates Michael V. Page, and Deputy Snick footwork and speed proved too much. All right, using unanimous decision, Page is loose and this frustrating Cannonair over Contreras bounds. Tim Bella got the night with Mentioners Kaya Akura exploiting the Japanese star's weakness on the ground. The card was a roller coaster, but Chimaev's dominance stole the show. The aftermath of UFC 319 was a storm of questions. Who could challenge Chimaev? Reiner Draters with elite grappling loomed as a potential threat. The jiu-jitsu and mirrored on Chimaev's Burns fight. Got probably because the game entry hinders his pace, never sure he does no moves precision. They were all waiting, but